Hi, Witchy School of Wisdom, folks. How are you? Let's play some music as we wait for some people to come in. We're listening to Samhain Ancestor chant today. So welcome, everyone. Let me invite some folks in.
Oh, grandfather's soul, may you be blessed, may you be blessed. Oh, grandfather's soul, may you be blessed.
Let's see who else needs to come in.
Oh, ancestor's soul, may you be blessed, may you be blessed.
Let me get y'all pulled up on the phone. I hope that you guys are enjoying the collab so far. Calvin was awesome. Hey, Victoria. How did you all enjoy Calvin? Hopefully, Facebook does not shut this down because of the video. So let me turn it down a little bit more, or the music. There we go. Crystal, thank you for being here. So we're just going to wait for some people to come in. Chanel's here. Thanks for joining us live, everyone. Madam Z here. So I'll talk a little bit more about my story and what we're going to talk about today while we wait for some people to come in. So how are you guys? Hey, Candy, thanks for joining us. So how are you guys enjoying the Samhain social so far? Give me some hearts up, some thumbs up if you guys are enjoying it. I sat up till, I don't know, 10, I guess it was, sometime last night watching Calvin. He did an amazing job. If you missed that, any of the replays will be up for about 2 weeks, and then I'll take them back down. If you're on my list and you signed up for the, my nose is itching, for the collab, you should get those replays every day in your inbox, and those are just for the people who signed up to receive emails from this collab. If you haven't signed up, you won't get those emails sent to you. So, hey, Chanel. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been a great social, hasn't it? Samhain Witches collab. It's been an amazing, amazing 2 days so far. We're in day 2. So today we're going to do Ancestor altars. And then we have another presenter coming up later on today. You will see the post come up every day in the group of who is presenting. So you want to make sure that you are in this group and you are present, you are participating, and you are looking to see who's coming up presenting, because we have 13 presenters total over the next 5 days. Hey, Tracy. Today is my witchy cup, my villain cup. I love this cup. I'm drinking coffee. So good afternoon, everyone. I have the windows open. If you don't know me, my name is Madam Z. I'm in Austin, Texas, and we are enjoying this nice, beautiful weather. So all my windows are open. I'm drinking hot coffee and enjoying the birds coming out. So you may hear some birds chirping. So I'm not going to apologize for the noise in the background, because it is very rare that we get to open our windows in Austin and enjoy this cool weather. So, thank you, Candy. So we want to bring in Mother Nature and have her join us during our Witchy collab, the Samhain Witches year. So let me introduce myself. Hey, Shelly's here, Angie's here. Thank y'all for joining us live. Yeah, Ancestors is very important work that we do as witches. So Madam Z here, and I am the head magical maker of the Witchy School of Wisdom, and I will take you down the rabbit hole of anything esoteric and witchy. I empower women through the teachings of magic, and I am a magical life coach, and I also teach anything that has to do with esoteric studies, magical studies, tarot, divination. I am the person to go to if you need some magical coaching in your life. So thank you for joining us live during this witchy collab. It's a cool thing going on. The Samhain collab. So if you are here to the group, thank you for joining me live. If you are watching the replay, hit hashtag replay. and I will make sure to reply to all of your questions and comments. If you are new to the group, welcome, and we welcome you with open arms to our sacred space of Witchy School of Wisdom. I still have the candle burning from yesterday's opening ceremony, so we are still in sacred space, so yay. If you're new to the group, please give me some hearts up, some thumbs up, some yay, I'm new, so I know that you are new. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you for hanging out with us and sticking around through all my crazy stuff that goes on. So today we're going to talk about ancestor altars. So here, let me ask some questions. Oh, we got a couple people who are new. Thank you. There's a little bit of lag time on, we got some other people. Yay, thanks. A little bit of lag time on the comments, so please be patient with me as I pull it up. Katie's here. Hey, Katie. I just sent you an instant message or a direct message, whatever you call them. Whatever the kids are calling them now. So, who here works with ancestors during this time or wants to start working with communicating and connecting with your ancestors? So let's put some thumbs up, some hearts up if you really want to learn how to work with ancestors. Thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit about ancestor altars. Has anyone ever put up an ancestor altar? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have. Oh, look at y'all. So you guys are doing really good. Yay. Perfect. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about ancestor altars. Well, before we start, let's talk a little bit about why it is important during this time of the year, which is Samhain, which is the veil is the thinnest between our world and the spirit world. And this is the time when you want to start communicating with your ancestors. This is the time when it's the easiest. And I talked a little bit about that during the opening ceremony of what Samhain really is. Let me catch up on comments. Would love to start connecting with ancestors, Chanel. Yes. Awesome. I want more connection, and Cindy says I do. Good. You're in the right place, though. So thank you for that. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about how to set up an altar, why it's important to set up an altar, what do you do with an altar, how do you connect with the altar, our ancestors, some things you can do to actually bring in the energy of connecting with your ancestors. So we're going to talk about that. So let's talk a little bit about why it's important, right, during this time of the year. And I talked a little bit about that during the opening ritual ceremony for Samhain. So it is a time when the veil is the thinnest. So this is a time when you want to remember your ancestors. You want to speak to your ancestors, receive messages from your ancestors, put up an ancestor altar to honor them and to welcome them back into our plane of existence, right? And so they can spend some time with you. So let's go start real fast into the workshop, and then we'll ask questions, right? So witchy cheers, everyone. So ancestor altar setup, and I got you guys pulled up on my phone too, so I can look at comments there. What are the reasons why you would think that you would set up an altar for ancestors? So give me some reasons. Type in the comments why you would think it's important to set up an ancestor altar as part of your magical workings, part of your craft, part of your practice. So type in the comments why you think it's important to learn how to set up an ancestor altar. And I'll wait a little bit for that to come through, and I'll give you some clues. So the reasons why you want to set up an ancestor altar is the altar is going to be a place where it is going to be a gateway to communicate with your ancestors. It's going to make it really easy for them to find it. It's the holding of energy of sacred space that is geared to calling in that specific ancestor or just your ancestors in general. If you want to do a specific ancestor, then we'll talk about that later on in this course, in this class. But you can do just a general ancestor one also. It provides a beacon of light to attract ones that have passed over. It is to honor their presence in your life, how important they were to you, how they influenced your life, how you miss them, how you want to communicate with them, how do you want to reconnect with them. It is also used for asking for protection from your ancestors when you're doing magical workings too. If you ever worked with me, when I call in sacred entities, right? I call them entities, spirits, whatever. I call in my ancestors, guides, and my gods and goddesses to protect me. So it is a way to ask for protection for your magical workings, because they see things that we don't see on our end. They actually see things in a different light, in a different plane, that sometimes we are not able to see. So we ask them for protection. You will hear them say, don't do that. What the hell are you doing? You need to watch out for this person, that kind of thing. So it really is asking for protection from your ancestors. And let me see if I can catch up on comments. Hey, Christina, thanks for joining us. And Ellen's here. Yay. Yes, Tracy, to honor and remember. Perfect. No, you're right on time, Ellen. We're just getting started, so you hadn't really missed anything. Candy says to honor those of my family who have come before me. Perfect. Yes, you guys got it. Welcome, Mariah. Hey, sister. Hey. So let's get this all set up. So those are some really good reasons why you want to set up an ancestor altar. Now, let's talk a little bit more. I want to know in the group, do you guys have anyone specific that you want to connect with? Or do you want to just connect with just your general ancestors? So I want you to type in the comment section if there's someone you want to connect with specifically, like a grandmother, an uncle, a grandfather, an aunt, a great-great-grandfather that you want to connect with. And let's put their name out into the universe as we are in sacred space together today. So we want to start calling them in. So it is important that you write their name down either on a piece of paper when you do your altar work, or you do it here. But I want us to start working their magic together here. So in the comment section, I want you to write down your dad, the actual name if you have the name of the person you want to connect with. Shelly is your dad, yes. And April is your brother and my grandmother. Awesome. You may not want to list their specific names here in a public forum, but when you do specific work, right, when you're doing your private altar setup for your ancestors, make sure you get as specific as you can, because there's a lot of Jimmy Smiths out there, right? So you want to put Jimmy Smith, the date of birth, and if you can, where they were located, where they're born at, where they were born. If you can, get as specific as you can so we know which one needs to come in and who you're calling in. Tracy said, I want to go way back to a soul calling me from way back. I can barely see her. I hope she comes forward if she can. Yes, that would be great. Hey, Anna, thanks for joining us live. That would be great if you could call that specific person in. Michael Odell Walker and Gladys Walker. Yes, we call you in. We call you in. Ooh, I got to chill. Ooh-wee. See the power of the name. Power of the name. So you want to give a name to all the answers that you want to call in. Be as specific as you can so the energy is consistent, the energy is powerful, and the connection. When you know someone's name, that gives them you power. Nancy Care, my brother, your mother, I'm sorry about that. born 5/18/1941, Peoria, Illinois. We call you in to connect with Candy. Awesome. Perfect. So let's continue. So another reason why we set up an ancestor altar is to receive guidance and wisdom for our ancestors and loved ones that have passed on. They know more than we do, for sure. So we're asking them for guidance and wisdom. So let's talk about where to place the altar. Does anybody have any idea where they would want to place their altar? If you want to get pen and paper out, you can go ahead and get pen and paper out to take notes. And I want you to start envisioning where you're going to put your altar at in your sacred space or in your house. Norman Living Good. Let's connect with Norman Living Good for Shelly. We call you in. So type in the comments where you want to place your altar. And if you have a piece of paper, let's start drawing out what you want to put on your altar and where you want to place it. And I'll give you some tips on where you can place your altar. Usually put it on any flat surface. And the reason is you want to start with a flat surface, but you can keep building up in tiers, right? So any flat surface, so when you put stuff down, it's very safe. It's not wobbling, especially when you put candles down, when you put pictures down, because if you have an important picture frame, you don't want it to fall and break. You don't want anything to really fall and break. So it's important to start with the flat surface, and then you can build on like boxes and tiers and that kind of thing. So start with any flat surface. If you can, put it on natural surfaces because that is conducive to more energy. Plastic, stay away from plastic. It doesn't have good energy. Natural surfaces are a conduit for energy. If you can find anything that has copper, make sure you put copper because it is very much a conduit of energy. Even if you get a copper wand, or even if you go to the store and get copper piping, put that on there. Let's look at the comments. Library table, yes. April's going to put it on her library table. That's going to be perfect. Yep, catch the replay, Anna. Thanks for being here. The replays will be up for a couple weeks. And if you're signed up to receive emails from me, the replays will go to your inbox every day. Tracy's going to put her in her plants area to feed the energy. Yes, they love plants. Put it on a coffee table, right? Be careful of the animals, though, because we don't want any cats or anything or ferrets or, anything like that knocking stuff off or any kids getting hurt. Put it on a shelf if you can. A bookcase is a really good place to put it. End tables, if they're in a safe place. On top of a dresser, if you have little ones, or if you have, well, I don't even want to say cats because cats will get up there too, but for little ones, you want to put stuff that's on a higher kind of thing. I've seen people put it on their kitchen window. I've seen, I know Shelly has a little kitchen altar. She puts in her kitchen. It's not really ancestor altar, but it is away from the little ones. So I've seen him put up a little bit higher so the kiddos or the witchlings don't get it. On top of dressers, we talked about that. And you can put it in the bedroom, although some people are like, no, I don't want my ancestors in the bedroom watching us do the nasty, right? So it's how you really feel comfortable with and where you feel you are connected to. Another thing you could do is to figure out where the best place is to put your altar, or where your ancestors want you to place the altar, is use your pendulum and go around your house and ask your ancestors, do you want me to place this here? And use your pendulum as a yes or no. So program it to show you a yes, program it to show you no, and go around the corners or the areas of your house and ask your ancestors, where do you want me to put your ancestor altar at, and it'll tell you. They will tell you. So Ellen said, I have an altar set up in my entryway. Is it okay to call in just general ancestors even if we don't have names? Yes. Yep. You can. So you're just calling ancestors to, I call in ancestors who are connected to me on the other side, who want to come in and give me any messages, any lessons, and any wisdom. You don't have to call in a specific one. If you don't know the names of one, you can just call in ancestors that are connected to your energy and to your lineage. So Tracy, my main altar is in my bedroom. I also have a mini kitchen one. Yep, see, Tracy has one in the bedroom. And the reason why, and I've seen people, I put an altar, I've had an altar in my bathroom too. It's on the top of the shelf. It has a Buddha on it. And because I spend a lot of time in the bathroom. A lot of women spend a lot of time in the bathroom. You honor them when you get up in the morning, when you're taking a shower, you're getting dressed. That's where you're going to spend a lot of your time at. So be mindful of where you spend a lot of your time at, where you're going to keep your altar at. Because it's important that you just don't put the altar up and walk away from it. You need to spend quality time receiving messages, honoring the ones who passed over, your ancestors, and you want to actually like reconnect with these people. Ellen is like, thanks, you're welcome. Let's see, what items? So if you're doing an ancestor altar, we're going to talk about what items you need to put on your altar. So type in the comments what you would want to see put on your own altar. If you have passed over, okay, what would you want to have placed on your altar? And I'm going to give you some items that you need, just a general item and general list. But I would love to see what you would want to, someone, one of your living ancestors, let's just say, like I said, you passed over, and it is the veil as the thinnest. It is now souring for you. You're like, oh, it's time for me to go, visit my niece, Betty. I hope she has my favorite cookies out, or, my favorite tea. So let's write in the comments what you would want for someone to place on your ancestor altar for you, to call you in, to call in your energy. Ellen's like vodka. Yes, Ellen's like vodka. And Shelly's baked goods and glitter. Yep. Yep. Baked goods and glitter. You guys are so funny. For me, it'd be really, I don't know, I love so many foods. I'm trying to think. But I don't know, anything like witchy or magical for me. Candle is my favorite color and scent. Yeah. Candle. Oh, crystals, glitter, and snacks. Yep. Rebecca said amethyst, feather bones, red wine, and tea. Ocean stuff. And candles. Yes, Rebecca, candles. I think mine would be coffee, because I love coffee. For sure. I love anything that is sensual scented, like ambers. Not really, I don't like patchouli, but anything sensual, sexy, amber kind of smelling. And anything kind of like a dark, mysterious color for sure. And anything citrusy. I love like lemons and limes and citrus like foods. I love chicken piccata for some reason, or capers, that kind of thing. I love the luxury of it. Mariah said coffee and chocolate chip cookies. Yes. So let's talk about what kinds of things you need to put on your ancestor altar. You want to put on pictures of your ancestor if you have them, or write down the name of your ancestor. Or as Ellen said, if she doesn't have one, you can just write down any ancestors. You call in any ancestors that are connected to you spiritually. Personal items, if you have personal items from any of your ancestors, like perfumes, books, handkerchiefs, necklaces, earrings, your grandmother's ring, your tea set. This is what I do. When I set out an ancestor altar, I always, when I'm calling in my grandmother, I use my grandmother's teacup and her saucer. A plant that represents the family tree, which someone in the group already talked about putting at the altar by the plant. A cauldron, a little mini cauldron, right, for the incense. Incense burner or incense. Now, because we want to represent all of the elements. So the incense or incense burner is going to be the element of air, which is east. So we want to have some kind of element that represents air. So if you don't have incense, what would you put down that represents the element of air? Candles. I'm a candle person too. Ocean stuff. So like Liberty says she likes, she's probably ocean goddess. So yeah. Hey Caitlin, hello. Liberty said, oh yeah, fresh lemon with salt. Yes. Oh my gosh, I used to eat those. I still eat them. I used to eat lemons with salt, dipped in salt, until I would have sores on my mouth from the acid. I still eat them. I love lemons and salt. Uh-oh, Caitlin's not getting notifications. Sorry to hear that. The replays will be up also, and sign up for my into the email list so you can get daily replays. Putting up a pic too, yes. Hashtag replay. Yo, you're still live. You caught us live, Christina. You're good. And a feather, yes. Yes, Ellen. Perfect. Or a bell. Yes, perfect. Bird, want a fella for, yes, Tracy, you got it. Perfect. You guys are doing great. Yep, catch the replay. It'll be up for a few days. Yay. Okay. Then ancestral money. If you have a money that is connected to a country where you came from or the country where your ancestors came from, try to put some of that ancestral money on the altar. Now, let's talk about the element of water or west. So you want to put anything that has to do with water, and that has to do with seashells or a little bowl of water or moon water, or anything that represents the element of west, even a water being like a mermaid or like I talked about, I said a shell, I believe, right? Even one of those, what is it, on the ship, the wheel of the ship kind of thing, you can put that on there also. A family book of names, or it's going to be written on paper. Now, the thing about the family book of names, if you're really, really Southern, or you're really, really Christian, or whatever, you should have a family Bible that has the whole entire tree. It was a big thing back in, when I was growing up. Everybody had family Bible. So if you still have your family Bible, make sure you put that on the altar. Does anybody here, by show of hands or hearts, has a family Bible with names written on it and your ancestors? It will give you the names of your ancestors, the date of birth, when they got married, who they got married to, the children. So you'll have a whole entire tree. I'm doing great. Thank you for catching this live, Christina. Hey, Rhonda, thanks for being here. So give me some hearts or thumbs up if you guys have a family Bible. Yes, you guys do. So put that on the altar. Put that on your ancestor altar. Food offerings, we talked about our favorite foods already. Chocolate chips was mentioned. Chocolate chip cookies, I'm sorry, was mentioned. I like anything with citrusy or lemons. Sheila likes any baked goods. So look for things that this person or your ancestor liked that called in. Maybe even make your grandmother's favorite spaghetti recipe or brownie recipe or salad recipe, something that she was known for. So go ahead and make that and give that as an offering and paying homage to her, right? So crystals is the element of north. So put down any crystals that has to do with grounding in earth. As far as the element of south, what would you guys put down for the element of south? Remember, south is fire, reds, passion, oranges, right? So what would you like to place on your altar to represent south? Dragons, right? Although dragons have different, for me, dragons is always in the south, right? Because it's fire. But they have dragons have a lot of different elemental dragons. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fire dragon. And you have water dragon, earth dragon. Let's see. Ellen said candles. Yep, candles, obviously. Yes, candles. Anything red, anything that has flame, has passion, has fire element is what you would use for the south. Now, vices. This is stuff that your ancestors would go crazy over. What would they do, or what do you remember that your grandmother or uncle or aunt or great-grandfather always had? Now, for my grandmother, it was always coffee and alcohol. Now, for my grandfather, it was cigars. For one of my grandfathers, my grandfather Bill, my grandpa Bill, it was cigars, because he always had a cigar hanging out of his mouth. Now, for my grandpa Abe, his was pipes. So his was tobacco. Okay, so I would put down his favorite tobacco, which was either cherry tobacco or vanilla tobacco. So think of the vices that your ancestors had that you can bring in to sweeten the altar for them. Okay, so let's talk about any vices that anyone has. Christina, quick question. I signed up for the event for this week, but I can't access the special speakers. I see your videos fine. Am I in the wrong place? No, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. You should be getting an email every day with the replays. And Tracy, Cat's eye stone. Yes, you could do that also. Plants. Yes. Hey, Pamela, thanks for joining us live. Smoke the pipe, tea, booze. Yep, you're exactly right, Tracy. Yeah. Mixed formula 44D and hot toddies. That sounds like you have some crazy ancestors. Coffee definitely for my granny. Aww. Cured everything. Yes, it did. My dad smoked a pipe. I miss that smell. I do too. Now for my grandmother also, it would be roses, because she always loved roses and she always had a beautiful flower garden. So I would put some roses out for her also. And then we talked about ancestor artifacts that we talked about, like rings, necklaces, cufflinks, jewelry boxes, you know, a letter that you may have received, anything else that you have, maybe a handkerchief or a necklace, or any trinkets or anything that you received from your ancestors that you want to put on the ancestor altar for you. Now, here's additional stuff you can do, okay, to make this more inviting for your ancestors. If you are privy to go to their grave, my grandmother and grandfathers, all of mine basically are buried in Connecticut, so I just can't go down the street and get the graveyard dirt. But if you have access to their grave, I suggest that you cautiously go to their grave, spend some time with them, and collect the graveyard dirt from their grave, and then take that graveyard dirt that you harvested and put it on the ancestor altar. Then we talked about flowers also. And we talked about putting down either their favorite color cloth or a white cloth as the base of your altar. Coins is another one, because they always are attracted to money. Ancestor grave dirt from their grave is what we talked about. Now, if you can't get their ancestor grave dirt, any grave dirt, sacred grave dirt is fine. Now, when you harvest the graveyard dirt, make sure you ask before you can harvest it with your pendulum, yes or no. If it says no, then you move on. You say, thank you, I'm moving on. And you want to offer it with coins and sweets and breads or fruits or herbs or flowers in place of taking that dirt. So and it goes to say, across the board, whenever you harvest anything or you take anything from nature, you replace it with something, because they're doing your bidding for you, or they're doing your magical workings for you, and you want to give them something in return. So be very cautious about it. Be very grateful about it. Just don't go up there and just scoop dirt, right? You want to spend time with that grave. You want to ask if it's okay if you can harvest some graveyard dirt for some magical workings. If not, you move the hell on. And don't be all up in their grill about it. Let's see. Favorite drink? Yes. Put cards on the altar? Yes. Well, you can't put actual cards, but you can get those little die casts, or you can go to the internet, look it up, the card, and print the image out and put that image on your altar. That's a way to do it. Yep, and that's what Tracy said. You can put a little matchbox on there. Yeah. If you have a picture of you and that person in front of the card, that would be a good thing too. So don't think, just kind of get outside the box, right? Think outside the box of how you can do that. All right, so any questions so far? Are you guys excited about setting up your ancestor altar? Let me catch up on comments. Yep, Pamela says she has a couple of pictures, so good. Awesome, perfect. Let's see, suggestions for offering. We talked about this also. Food, flowers, tobacco, liquor, rice, sweets, teas, coffees, fruits. Okay, so those are just some suggestions of offerings. One thing I used to do, we have a family recipe for spaghetti. And people at my retreat actually got to participate in eating my family's recipe for spaghetti. So I still have my grandmother's recipe card that she has handwritten, has spaghetti stains all over it, food splashes all over it. And every time I do an ancestor altar to her, I take that recipe card out and I put it on the altar for her. That recipe has been handed down from generations to generations, so it has a lot of energy into it. Let's talk about how to approach your ancestor altar. Pamela said, let me scope. I also have the first car he ever bought. Oh, you should take a picture of the car. Christina, I'm making crescent moon cookies with my family. We're making a big altar for our loved ones, honoring our 10. Wow, that's going to be a big one. Pamela said, I'm thinking maybe I'll just leave his garage as an altar where the car is. You should. If you have that space, yeah, that'd be great. My grandmother made those, love them. Yeah, yeah. The moon cakes. Awesome. Perfect. Y'all are doing great. So let's talk about how you approach your altar. There's a specific way you want to do it. So you want to light the candles. Make sure you have a lot of candles, because remember, we represented earth, air, fire, water, so you should have a candle on there. Everybody has a candle. Everybody has a candle. Show respect. Ask for forgiveness if you have wronged them or they have wronged you. Talk to them about your problems, what you need guidance on, what you need insight with, what are either messages that you need to receive, right? Think about the memories, the good memories that you had together. Actually have conversations with them and give them thanks, and really just lots of respect and lots of, because when I do mine every morning, I sit down and I pour my grandmother a coffee in her favorite coffee cup. And we sit down, I light my candle, light the incense, everything's done as the altar, and I actually either play her favorite music or some meditation music, and we just have coffee together every morning. That's all we do. And I sit and talk. I light a candle. I have a piece of paper out. I'm journaling. I'm asking questions. What do you think about this? If you have any of the messages or spirit oracle cards, pull some cards and just ask to receive messages and how much you love them and you miss them. And just like have a real conversation, like they are sitting across the table from you having croissants and coffee. Or my grandmother used to always make homemade jam. Blackberry jam and blackberry jam, butter, and coffee. What was it? And oh my gosh, what are they called? English muffins. That's what she used to always have for breakfast. Let's catch up on comments. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Pamela. I'm thinking maybe I'll just leave the card. We did that one. So the idea of recipe cards, yes. Lindsay said, I'm late to this. No, you're good. But I had a specific question for you about this. If you answer later, that's totally fine. Apparently, I have my brother as an ancestor guide. He died within a couple hours of being born, years before I came along. Do you have suggestions for honoring someone like that who wasn't around long enough to develop taste for things, but who is very active in their own person? Wait a minute, who is taser a person now in the spirit space? Just go with that instinct and ask them for a lot of questions. Yes, just ask them. Do you know the person's name? Did they give him a name? Yep, you can definitely use herbs along with your candles. Pamela asked, okay, y'all making me hungry. My favorite foods. I know. Blair made me lunch, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm starving. So, thanks, Christina. So if you have a specific name, Lindsay, if they named him, or you can just, you have the birth date, you have the spirit name, or you have the name that, in spirit. If you have the specific name, write that specific name down on a piece of paper. But you should have the born death date in your situation. And that should, yes, then you're good. Yep, Brian. Yep. Yeah, you're good. So you want to call him in as his name and his born and death name. Or we went to this, this is a cool little story. In my Witchy Goddess retreat, a couple of weeks ago, we went to do a graveyard ceremony. This old graveyard on I think it was a dirt road. I'm not sure if it was a dirt road, but it was very much off the beaten path. And we were the only ones there. So I instructed all of my students to go pick out a grave that they're connected to and do some divination with them. So instead of having like a born date on some of the headstones and a died date, they have a sunrise and then a date and a sunset and a date. And I thought that was really cool. So instead of a born date, they had sunrise. Instead of a death date or died, they had a sunset date. So I thought that was really, really cool. I've never seen that before. How would I honor 2 unborn children who I lost with miscarriages? Womb honoring is amazing. Did you name them at all and you have specific dates? And did you have sonograms or any pictures of them in the womb or anything? And they are still connected with you spiritually. So it's not impossible, right, to reconnect with them and ask them to come through for you. Any pictures, any energies, any thoughts, any feelings, any names, any dates, just because they didn't physically manifest as far as adults or coming into the world as we see each other now, living spirits, there doesn't mean they're not there. You just have to call them in a different way. Okay. So here's some miscellaneous tips for you guys. Saturday is a traditional day for working with the dead. Let me pull up a date for you guys. So the 26th, or actually the 2nd would be the best date. November 2nd, which is going to be either All Souls Day or All Saints Day. So you want to work with either the 26th that's coming up or November 2nd. That's when you want to spend a lot of time with your ancestors. You want to have your altar already set up before them. Work with your ancestors on a daily basis and offer them food before you eat. Now, what I do is I always scoop out a little bit of the dish and make it on their plate and put the offering on their plate, on their altar. They have a specific plate that's just for my grandmother and my, grandfather. Any questions so far before we close? So if you need some guidance, here is my free PDF on how to get started on setting up an ancestor altar. Grab that. And that'll give you everything that we went over, so you can actually print that out and keep that as my gift to you for catching me live or catching the replay. So grab that, and when you grab that, you'll be entered into my drawing for my prize. So super cool with that. Any questions so far? We're going to wait a little bit for the lag, right? Facebook is laggy. I love setting up ancestor altars. I love doing any spirit work. So let's see. I have sonogram photos, but I didn't know the sex of the children. You don't have to. You don't have to know the sex of the children. Just the sonogram photos are will be enough to connect you. And to be honest with you, does the sex really matter when you're calling in spirits? They don't have, male, female. For me, they don't have male, female stuff over there. It's more like fluid. It's more like energy, unless it's manifested here. But don't worry if you don't have, if you don't have the sex of the unborn children. You still have the energy. You still have that connection. Another thing you can do, look to see if you have anything or anybody close to you that had a baby that was really close to the releasing of your two children, because they may have been reincarnated. Yes, Pamela was like, I'm actually looking forward to Halloween this year to see what happens and do the altar. Yes, set up the altar for sure. Perfect. So any other questions? Don't forget to get that PDF. We've got, Ellen says she's planning on putting out food. And Caitlin says, I do this with my dumb supper. Yes, dumb supper is kind of the same. Putting out a plate of food. So we have lots of stuff still coming up. If you want to be eligible for prizes, make sure you sign up at the bit.ly link. And if you want your free PDF on how to set up an ancestor altar, you can grab that there. Those are the two ways to be entered into prizes. Pamela said, right now I have my dad's pictures and celebration of life card on my TV stand with the dried flowers and ribbons from his arrangements. Perfect. Oh, before I go, another thing that you can do if you don't want to connect with your ancestors, this is just kind of off topic, or you're like, I don't want to connect with my ancestors this year. I just want to connect with my animals who passed or my familiars who have passed. Do the same thing with your familiars. I have a dear familiar who passed about a year ago now. I still have her ashes. So I will put her little urn out and her ashes out, and they shaved off some fur for her, and it's in a little bottle. And if you have the familiars or your animals, pictures, collars, tags, anything, that is another way to bring in the energy of reconnecting with your animal. I wouldn't say animal guides because they're really not. For me, they're more than they're like they're spiritual guides for me. And she was more to me than just an animal. She was my familiar. So if you don't feel like you want to connect with any ancestors, but you want to connect with familiars or pets who have passed on, you can use this same ideas and the same guides, just put in the information about your pet who has passed over. If you are friends with me on Facebook, you will see her, because Facebook is really good about, oh, this happened a year ago, and I'm like, fuck you, Facebook. I didn't want to feel that way today, but you will see her, because I'll share pictures of her. Her name is Bella, and she's a Boston Terrier. So we have a new dog. You'll see pictures of her too, but she's a Chihuahua and she's a hot mess. But the one that I'm really connected with, both of them, but the one who has passed is Bella. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll still see pictures of her come up. So if you want to bring in more of reconnecting with your spirit animal, not spirit animal, but your ancestors, your familiars, then that is what you would do with that. Let me catch up on. Yeah, excellent idea with the pets. Yeah, because some of us don't know our ancestors, right? Well, physically, they've never met their grandmothers, or they never met their grandfathers. So they may not have that connection, or they may just feel like, I just don't want to do an ancestor altar this year. I want to, I'm missing my dog. I'm missing my cat. I'm missing my snake or my ferret. Bring in the same teachings that I'm teaching you for bringing in and reconnecting with your animals or your pets that have passed over. Pamela said, you just reminded me I have my dad's hair. Yes, I still haven't picked up his ashes. Oh, I have, where's it at? I don't know what happened to it, but yes, any hair that you have would be good. Back in the day, they used to keep lockets of hair, especially when they passed, right? Or when they had their first haircut. And it's in the Victorian times, they would keep that hair like in a cool little locket. So if anybody has that, you could put that out too. Let's see, catch up on comments for y'all. You're doing so good. Yeah, past post. Yeah, I know. I'm like, man, Facebook. And Facebook posted when I was like really thin. I was like, I hate you, Facebook. Sometimes Facebook is good, and sometimes Facebook is like, oh man, I used to be hot back then. Or I miss my her nickname was Smelly Belly. And another way that you can bring in your ancestors or your pets that have passed over is call them by their nicknames also, right? We used to call her Smelly Belly because she used to fart all the time. So anyways, bring in names that's personal to you, and that's stuff that only they would know, right? Or a favorite song that they would sing to you, or that kind of stuff, something that's very personal. So do that. What herbs? Any herbs that have divination properties. Mugwort is my favorite, right? And let me see if I can get you a list. But it really just depends on when I like lavender for, what is it? For innocence, love, and peace. Roses for love. Herbs for... And because you want to bring in the divination, Cinquefoil also, but you want to bring in, it's the balance of light and dark, right, of male and female. So jasmine is another one. Mugwort, I still use mugwort all the time when I'm doing spiritual work. And dandelion, juniper, marigold is another one. And rose always. Bay, cinnamon, orange, peppermint, star anise, wormwood, if you have wormwood. Those are the ones that I would use the most. Those are the most, lilac for sure. The easiest to get your hands on for those. Yeah, mugwort's really good. Every witch should have mugwort in their cabinet. That is Witch 101 herbs. Everybody should have mugwort in their cabinet. And you can use a combination of any of this, or you can just use one herb. Let's see. Let me make sure I've answered everyone's questions. Yeah, you must have a locket somewhere. Mugwort, love mugwort. If you want to connect with your pets, yes, I burn the mugwort. Yep, I burn the mugwort. How are you using the mugwort? I burn it. You can either put it on the altar, or you can use it in an incense mixture, or you can just burn it by yourself in the cauldron with the charcoal disc. But I burn it. Lisa Van Galen, she is a wonderful person to connect with if you want to do some connection with your pets that have passed over. She does animal readings, and she is doing a presentation in the group for Samhain collab. Lisa Van Galen, let me see if I can tag her. Maybe. There we go. Pet readings, and I tagged her, and so you should be able to see that. Yeah, there you guys go. So if you want to actually get messages and have someone channel messages for you, you want to go deeper into receiving messages from your pet, talk to Lisa. She's really good. She brought in my smelly belly, my Bella, a couple Samhains ago when we were doing an actual seance, and she was really spot on, because Bella was my dog was crazy. She's a Boston Terrier. She was like in and out. She wasn't really settled down so much, and she very much said, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Happy to see you. I love you. Bye. Gotta go." And that's pretty much how Bella's spirit was. So if you want to receive messages from your pets, get with Lisa, and I'm sure she'll be happy to schedule a session with you. Oh, yeah. Shelly said, I talked to my Alpha Chihuahua, so sick. Yeah, you did talk to Lisa. I thought I would lose him. Lisa, well, yes, she is wonderful. So, all right, my witchy sisters and my witchy peeps, that is it for my presentation on how to set up an ancestor altar. Grab that PDF, download it, print it out, keep it. Start putting your altar together. Post pictures of your altar, because I would love to see it. I'm an altar whore, so I love everybody's altars and get new ideas. And we want to share and motivate and be in sacred space together and rise other witches up, so we can actually start building our practice together. So prizes, don't forget to sign up for the email list and get this PDF. The more you participate, the more chances you have of getting my I have 3 people that I'm giving huge prizes to. So in order to be eligible for that, make sure that you participate, ask questions, watch everybody's live, get everybody's freebies, all that good stuff, so you guys can be eligible to win the big 3 prizes. All right, my witchy sisters, we will see you later in the Samhain collab. And don't forget, this is going on every day for the next, well, till Friday. So you, if you're signed up to receive my email list, then you will get replays every day. All right, my witchy School of Wisdom peeps, witch on, and we'll see you in the group. Happy Samhain.